This is CES MMA.
All right, we're right back at it here at Twin River Casino. New Blood presented by Jimmy Birchfield's Classic Entertainment and Sports. And right now you see veteran Ralph Johnson ripping the shirt off, making his way to the cage. Ralph Johnson coming in at 5-5, all 5 wins by knockout. He took this one on short notice, Scott.
Yeah, it's with an incredibly tough opponent in Chuck O'Neil.
Ralph Johnson fights out of Camp Get Right in Worcester, Mass. Now, he most recently lost again fighting on short notice against Keenan Raymond in April. That was Raymond's pro debut, a tough matchup for him against the shorter fighter.
I'm not a big fan of last-minute fights unless you've been training the whole time. If you've been training for another fighter and, you know, your guy falls out and then you take somebody short notice, or you think maybe you're on standby, you know, like say Pat Sullivan says, hey, stay in shape, you might be a fill-in. But it's really tough to take a guy on 10 days notice, 2 weeks notice.
The thing about Ralph Johnson, he always has that height advantage. When you see him get inside that cage, he stands at 6'5". He's a massive hulking figure. However, the shorter fighters can take him down, and when he's on the ground, it's not his strong suit, Scott.
No, it's not.
4 of his 5 losses, he's been submitted. We've seen it. We saw it against Keenan Raymond. We've seen it against other opponents. When he gets on the ground, things change. And with Chuck O'Neil, he's a guy who can get you down there.
And that's where Chuck likes to be. Chuck likes to shoot underneath. Chuck likes to do ground and pound and really keep you there.
And here he is making his way to the cage. Cold Steel Chuck O'Neil, 10-5 with 2 knockouts. 6'2", fighting out of Bridgewater, Mass. And Mass BJJ, of course, Chuck O'Neil, a UFC veteran. He was on The Ultimate Fighter in 2011. He made it to the semifinals as a wild card. But most recently, and arguably his most impressive win, was beating Keith Jeffrey here in December. Scott, you and I called that fight.
Yeah, you know, and again, to Keith Jeffrey's credit, that was a 3-round battle. You know, those guys went pretty long, pretty hard. That was a decision fight. And Chuck, you know, was on The Ultimate Fighter and did have a good stint on The Ultimate Fighter show. He's looking to get back to the big show, and, you know, he wants to stay active. He wants to keep fighting. I'm sure that he was real happy that Ralph stepped up and took the fight on short notice.
You know, it's interesting. We've had so much talk about Doomsday Howard wanting to get back there. Well, so does Chuck O'Neil. And Chuck O'Neil coming in 10-5 with 2 knockouts, 176 pounds yesterday, fighting on a Mass BJJ. And his opponent, Ralph Johnson, 5-5, 5 knockouts from Camp Get Right in Worcester, Mass. Let's send it down to Bill Carpenter for the official introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Miller Lite bout. We've got 3 5-minute rounds in the cage, welterweights. Your referee for this contest is Kevin McDonald. Introducing the blue corner first. He's wearing the blue trunks. He weighed in for this bout at 175 pounds. His professional record, 6 wins with 5 losses. 5 of those 6 wins coming by way of knockout. Representing the Fight Factory from Worcester, Massachusetts, here is Ralph Johnson. Across the cage, fighting out of the red corner, he's wearing the black trunks with purple. He tipped the scales at 176 pounds. His professional record, 10 wins against just 5 losses. Those 10 wins include 5 submissions and 2 knockout victories. Representing Mass BJJ, he hails from Bridgewater, Massachusetts. Introducing Chuck Cold Steel O'Neil. 3 5-minute rounds.
All right, Ralph Johnson in the blue trunks, Chuck O'Neil in the black with the purple trim. And again, it's a matter of whether or not Ralph Johnson can keep it standing up long enough to let that right hand go.
Oh, he just flowed him with a straight right hand. He hit him hard and fast, right out of the gate. Johnson should really try to get up right now while Chuck still gathered himself. He was looking for a triangle there, but Chuck, here he comes. He's waking up right now. Johnson should try to walk that cage and roll himself over.
And Johnson, of course, going in for the kill with that right hand he landed in the opening seconds.
You take this fight on short notice. You don't know how long your gas is. You know better than, maybe you got about 3 minutes of gas, so you might as well let it all hang out. To his credit, he just let that right hand go.
Wow, he cracked O'Neil right from the opening bell. but it appears O'Neal's regained his composure and now in the position he wants to be in. This is not where Ralph Johnson wants to be.
Chuck's already has mount. He's working his way up for some ground and pound.
And perhaps maybe Johnson a little too overzealous, got himself in a bad spot here.
I don't know if you can't. I agree with you from a fighter's standpoint that maybe you jumped up, but if your job is to get in there quick, if you feel like my only shot is to surprise him, it looks like he's, you can see Chuck really going right now. No defense by Ralph. Kevin will be stopping this if Ralph doesn't do something, buck his hips.
Johnson has to do something. He's been in this spot before, and we've seen him not fight back when he gets on the ground. More often than not submitted, and there it is.
If we have the opportunity to see that first right hand, I'd love to see it again. Nice, clean punch.
Great recovery by Chuck O'Neal, too. Give him a lot of credit because he got cracked, and a lot of guys have folded when hit like that by Ralph Johnson, as evident by his 5 knockouts. But Chuck O'Neal rebounded nicely. You see O'Neal perhaps giving him a little advice, too, Scott.
Well, he probably walked over there and told him that right hand, you just scared the bejesus out of me.
A lot on the line for Chuck O'Neal tonight, Scott. Again, as a fighter trying to get back to the UFC, could not afford that kind of loss if he had dropped this one to Ralph Johnson. And for a minute there, it looked like Johnson might have caught him, but a great recovery by O'Neal. We're going to take a look at the replays here and just see exactly what happened.
They come right out, and you can see the first 1, 2 right down the pipe. Great straight punches. Ralph used his distance well, and there's your recovery by O'Neal. And this is where he takes a couple seconds to breathe. He's on top, good position, take a couple seconds, regroup. But it was a great, beautiful straight right hand. And here you can see, Chuck really putting the ground and pound on. He gets Ralph's back, sinks in the rear naked, and that's it.
Well, that'll do it. Let's send it down to Bill Carpenter for the particulars.
Ladies and gentlemen, your official time, 1 minute, 30 seconds of the first round. Your winner by a rear naked choke tap out, Chuck Cold Steel O'Neal.